And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Up first, hazardous weather graphic. High wind warning out St. Lawrence Island, Bering Strait coast until 6 p.m. this evening for winds gusting over 60 miles an hour. And then a coastal flood advisory out for the north side of the Seward Peninsula, northwest coast here, and the Arctic coast up to Point Lay, and that's out for tonight into tomorrow till about 1 p.m. And then in the interior here, these are wind advisories for the northern Kuskokwim Valley in toward Galena and eastward here, all the way across the White Mountains there. Wind advisories out for tonight for winds gusting over 45 miles an hour, strongest back here to the west. And then for the Yukon Delta coast here and the Kuskokwim Delta coast, that's a high surf advisory out for tonight into tomorrow, for including Nunivak Island for high surf and possible minor beach erosion. From there, looking at satellite imagery, we have this low tracking northeastward here up into the Chukchi Sea and actually in toward the northwest coast. And the front moisture pushing rain, areas of rain eastward here in across southern Alaska, to a lesser extent up in the Tanana Valley area, with some actually precipitation all the way up to the Arctic coast, and then trailing back along the front here, right down to long and just north of the Alaska Peninsula, into the eastern Aleutians, back out to the west. Mostly sunny day, light winds, warm temperatures here over the Panhandle, with some locations reaching the 70s. Hoonah had 75 at mid-afternoon, and Haines had 72, not necessarily the highs, but just mid-afternoon temperatures there. And back out to the west, really nothing new coming up. Actually, a kind of a enhancement of the moisture, a thickening of the frontal band out here over the west, and some more moisture up here to the west there, but no big storms coming in over the next couple of days there. So this is kind of the last one as it moves on through. That low center up in toward the Chukchi Sea this afternoon, and the front pushing eastward here brought pretty good wind gusts of 50 to 55 miles per hour at, let's see, Kotzebue and Teller, as well as, let me take a quick look at my notes there, Savunga and Cape Lisburne, all seeing 50 to 55 mile per hour wind gusts, even higher over the higher elevations of the Brooks Range through the passes there, like Lookout Ridge had 61 miles per hour. Behind the front, rain changing to showers with pretty gusty winds here across the northern Bering Sea right into the southwest coast, and that supporting that high surf advisory for those areas. Narrow band of precipitation, the front very weak here down toward the Pribilofs as it drags into the eastern Aleutians, mostly a cloud producer, then rainfall. And rain coming into the interior here, no heavy amounts at all. Heaviest amounts, let's see, was at Nikolai, one of the heavier amounts, had about a third of an inch today, and Ruby had a quarter of an inch. But up here along the southern slopes of the western Brooks Range, some areas had anywhere from 2/3 to 3/4 of an inch of rain. Lighter amounts of some clearing on the eastern Arctic coast there, and mostly dry over the eastern Copper River Basin. And then periods of rain moved in earlier today into Cook Inlet, Manauskas-Susitna Valley, but basically dry for Kodiak Island down in here. Sunshine, again with temperatures in the high 60s to well into the 70s in some locations. For tonight, look for a general increase in the clouds here along the Panhandle. This system pushing moisture eastward, so rain almost getting to Yakutat late tonight. Areas of rain over the Copper River Basin, and also here over the, with kind of a trough coming around the south side of that low center over the western Arctic coast, bringing some enhanced rain and showers into that area, then scattering out again to the west. And winds slowly diminishing, but stay pretty brisk out of the west-southwest here from the northern Bering Sea into the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. But high wind warning ends again at 6 p.m. for St. Lawrence Island, the Bering Strait coast. Look for some clearing here with dry conditions for the Alaska Peninsula. Weak warm front brings a chance of rain, fog, and drizzle to Adak and Atka. IFR conditions. That whole mess slides eastward here, very weak low in front, but enough moisture with it to produce rain and fog all the way into the Alaska Peninsula and back to Amchitka Island. Dry to the north of that system, then back into some shower activity with that low over the St. Lawrence Island area. Low pressure in a trough keeps it wet and unsettled over the North Slope and Arctic coast. A lot of showers in the central interior with cloudy skies and cool conditions all the way into the Yukon, actually. Partly sunny, hopefully, here south central Alaska. Lingering showers early on tomorrow over the northern, or mostly in the Manuska Valley, maybe northern Cook Inlet. Those will tend to diminish and end in the afternoon hours with sun breaking out Prince William Sound. Northwest winds or west-northwest winds there, clearing it out for Kodiak Island, at least dry conditions there, maybe some sunshine. Rain moves into the Panhandle. And then for Friday, mostly cloudy showers with a weak trough there in the southeast coast and clearing out here with a very weak front pushing back in toward the western Alaska range. So that's going to keep rain and showers in the Kuskokwim Valley, back out to the Yukon Delta coast. Scattered showers for the Brooks Range area, but mostly dry for the Arctic coast. Risk of a shower on the east side up there. But periods of light rain, fog, and drizzle. Again, IFR flying conditions covering much of the Aleutians and the Bering Sea of this weak system moving toward the Alaska Peninsula. And for the lows tonight, mostly in the 40s across all of Alaska. And Panhandle, some areas right around 50 or 51 for the lows. Highs tomorrow in the 50s and 60s over the interior, cooler 40s to the north and out over the Bering Sea, mostly in the lower to mid 50s there. And the southern Panhandle still pushing up towards 70 degrees, but more clouds to the north, keeping it considerably cooler for your highs than what you saw today. And then for the lows for Friday morning, upper 30s Brooks Range and the central Arctic coast. 40s everywhere else, 45 to 50 south central Alaska, and 45 to 50 across the southeast coast. And then highs for Friday afternoon, 60s for the southeast coast. That'll be the warmest spot in the state there. Everywhere else in the 50s or 40s as you get up to the Brooks Range to the Arctic coast, and lower to mid 50s out over the Bering Sea and the Aleutians.